I just was on the phone with one of my very kind friends, and we were talking about geopathic radiations and how they can harm our physical body. And it's very, very sad that people forgot this. It was present in every traditions around the world. They called it divining. Basically, one purpose of this was gaining water from the ground, but basically people knew that these kind of radiations are harming our physical body. You know, these days I was wondering about how we were thinking when we were kids, and of course I'm using this plural we. I'm not sure how you were with this, but what I really find to be interesting is that after a while, you know, like when we are over 30, 40, we are not really being interested in being useful in society, especially these days when we have so many newborn children, which means that teenagers are kind of like, you know, millions and millions are more and more, you know. So as we are getting older and older and we can kind of keep older people alive, we are being less and less useful, especially with AI, you know, when we think about it, like how will it become? And I'm not talking about, you know, conspiracy. I'm talking about facts, and I'm talking about that it is not about extinction and death I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that older people, and I'm considering myself to be one, is you know, older people get to the stage, they start thinking about, okay, who am I? You know, why I am around? You know, like even relationships are becoming like questionable. And when we start learning about truth, it helps a lot, because for us to become really useful in society, they are not really educating us about reality as it is. They are educating us about reality in human society. You know, the structure itself we have to be, you know, useful in. And this age, like I am above 50, we have two choices. We decide, okay, I'm not useful anymore in this society, so I just dissolve myself, which means we get a sickness and then we die. That's one way to make a decision. Another way is that digging in and looking for real truth, okay? And not about human society. Of course, with time we will find out the truth about human society also. But the truth about creation, the truth about our own existence, because if we don't find that, we cannot put together the life beyond society. And, you know, people are talking about conspiracy theory and these kind of things. What I believe is that this task, you know, finding truth about ourselves, is no one else's job, you know. We are not victims by others not showing the way. It is our task, it is our job to find really how life works for us. And this geopathic radiation issue, you know, it sounds like, you know, what are you talking about? You know, like geopathic radiation or life as it is. What I'm talking about is that geopathic radiation is generally starting to harm the physical existence when there is no health on higher levels, which means emotions, relationships, soul, spirit. And this is where, this radiation really can get into us and destroy our structure. And there is always a question, do we want to be aware of that? And it is, it might sound sad, but most of the people do not want to take care of that. Most of the people do not value themselves and their own existence being enough valuable to even put their bed into another position to survive, what they have. I am not going into that anymore. I don't want to be sad, for other people. It's their own decision. Everyone makes a decision. I believe in several lives. Basically, it doesn't matter for me what other people believe, because even if Christians believe that we live once, many Christians believe that, I would say in that life, in that one life, we live several others. So, it depends on the perspective. But what I really believe in is that it is our choice how many lives we want to live during one. How many times we want to say, I see that everything is, all the circumstances are against me, but I still want to live. So I'm ready to be someone else. I'm ready to be, a new form of life, because basically our environment is reflecting us. So when the environment is not wanting us around anymore, it is us who have to be ready to say, okay, I'm ready to be someone else. And basically this is what a person says when they want to die also, because they say, okay, I will die, and I will dare to be someone else when I will born again, and I will be a child, and I will not have to think about what I did before or how it was before. But the truth is, we bring everything with us through the genes. So that's a good question. Is it coming from our ancestors, or it is coming from us, from other lives? Who cares? We have to deal with what we have to deal with. And what I love about the Matrix Drops computer is that it is just, okay, this is it. This is the situation, this is, the computer is scanning you, and it is just telling you, this is the package you have. And yes, sometimes it says that your ancestor had a disease, and you have the emotional pattern from that disease. And it might be surprising. You may say, what the heck I have to do with this? I don't want to deal with this. It's the question of perspective. If we want to see our life as part of history, and we want to believe that we had ancestors, and we had history, and we have a country we live in, and we have a cultural inheritance, then we have something to deal with. And it is us who are living now, so it is us who have to deal with this. And I just love people who are ready to deal with this. And it is starting with us. We have to be the first in our own life, dealing with whatever we are bringing with ourselves, in our genes, in our, epigenetics, which is the environment now, today, relationships and all the environmental traditional circumstances are. And from the point on, we are becoming effective with this. We can help others also in this, which means this life, what I'm talking about, when we are ready to change, it has to be like 100% self-developed for everyone. However, the principles and the truth about, reality behind it, that you can use for your own change. You can apply. In that, we can help each other. So it is very, very interesting. This was underground streams, believe it or not. I just wanted to talk about the geopathic radiations, but I didn't talk about the radiations themselves. I just was talking about if we want to change, if we are willing to move on with our bed in another position so that we wouldn't be harmed by these radiations. But this is just so much more, because these are subtle energies. And if I want to believe, I believe. If I don't want to believe, I don't believe. This was a sad reality with my husband, because we were, in the same double bed. I was in such a radiation. I got 16 different kind of infections in my body in 2 years, while I didn't have any before. And he was in a radiation also, but he didn't want to move out. I did move out. I got healed, and I feel better than ever. He just died a few weeks ago. And it was terrible to watch his decision. It was terrible to watch his free will. But, with time we get used to that. With time we get used to that, and I don't know too much about the other side of existence, where he is now. But I really hope that he understood forever what it meant for him. Because it was really a bad karma for him, in a way. Because he was, and he is still, I believe, a genius. He was using his brain, his unbelievable creative, existence, how to say that, in his life. And he was thinking from the morning to the evening. That was his habit. He was working, thinking, creating. And his head was in a waterline stream radiation, and he didn't move out from there. So after a while, every morning he came out, he was feeling worse and worse and worse. And I didn't push him to move out. He heard the facts. He knew that I moved out from that side of the bed because of this. And he did see that I improved. He still stayed there. And by the time he felt that, okay, this is not a game anymore, this is it is serious, it was late. It was too late. So what happened was that he started to believe that people are around the house. He started to think that we have visitors. We did not. And I remember one morning he came out and he was sitting down and he said, where is my son? And I said, he's in America, like usual. And he was sitting there and he said, oh my gosh, he believed me. He never accused me, with a lie or whatever. And I never forget his face. He was very, very clever. And imagine, you realize that, oh my gosh, you believe something which is not real. And from that point on, he was going down the hill very fast. And suddenly he kind of collapsed in his brain. And he got into hospital. And it was very bad. That was very bad. That situation was very bad. He had really illusions coming and going. He was giving speeches to, audiences which was not there, or which were not there. And I remember we were visiting him in the hospital with his son. He came from America, and we were sitting there in the hospital, and visitors were around with other people being there, and my husband just stood up and he started to give a speech. Perfect wording, unbelievable, speech about who he is, and he was saying thanks for people coming and showing up on his meeting. And I remember both of us were really crying, his son and me also, of course, after we left. So he had to spend 2 more years in a nursery home with medications and hallucinations and all these things. So just take care of yourself, make a decision. If you want to survive, if you want to live long, then take care of yourself before it is too late. Okay? Listen to reality and make trials. I don't mean believe, I mean try. All of my clients sense the difference when they move out from a radiation line. Go to my YouTube page, check out my interviews. There is one interview with Igel. We were just making one scan. The scanner showed that she is sleeping in a water line. We found out, through the phone. I was in Europe, she was in America. Well, we just found out where would be the better spot for her to sleep at. And she was like completely changed person in 2 days. So just listen to that interview and go and dig a little bit deeper in this subject, because it is everywhere. I remember there was another client in Chile, and I told him like he's sleeping in a water line, and he went to the neighboring, community where elderly people were living still. And there was an old man, and he came over, and he was able to make the divining, and he showed exactly the spot I told him, that there is a water line stream under the ground, and it is harming his aura, his body. So he was like really at the end stage of really serious digesting problems, because the water line went through his digestive system. So just go, go look around. You will find someone who can test your bed, your place. And if you are not sure about it, you can call me too. But I was talking about this because I know, through the internet you can listen to me at the other end of the world also. But believe me, you will find someone around who can do this for you, and you don't necessarily have to believe that person, but make a trial. And if you feel better, then that person made a good job. So watch out for this and take care of that, because it is a serious issue. I'm wishing you the best, and I wish myself that you would make a decision for putting together a wonderful life for yourself. You don't need anyone else's, consent to this. You are enough. You just have to learn about the truth and reality. So have a wonderful day. Make your day tomorrow better than today. And I hope that today will be better than yesterday, because this is the normal way it should be. Goodbye.